Hello, everyone. I'm DJ Leah, radio host of Secrets from a Girl, here on KUCR 88.3 FM, Riverside. I'm here today with a band member from the tropical Afro-Latin group here based in California. The band will be performing here in downtown Riverside at the second annual Mucho Gusto Festival, a music festival without borders, on September 21st. Here with me now, I have Dany Gomez from QUITAPENAS. Hi, Dany.
Hi Leah, thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. It's good having you here. How is this summer afternoon going for you?
It's going good, hot as usual, but
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah,
It's
good,
very
good.
good, yeah.
Well, I'm glad to have you here today. We're gonna just go ahead and get started. I kind of want to start at the genesis of the band and how it kind of formed and stuff like that, and we'll go from there. Um, so the band was formed in 2011 amongst friends who are all first generation American kids from immigrant parents from Guatemala and Mexico. The direct translation of the name, if I'm correct, is the name of the band is To Remove Worries, in which you guys, I'm assuming, kind of like have this mission of letting people dance and remove worries and to just be free. As a first gen child myself, the way I kind of interpreted the name of the band to me was like almost an homage to my parents who had to remove their worries to start a new life. But I kind of want to hear from you how this name came about. Would you agree it is an homage to immigrant parents? If not, uh if you want to just expand on that.
Yeah, that's cool that you said that. I don't know if anybody has ever put it that way, but it's definitely very cool. I think maybe it's like subconsciously we saw that symbolism in there. But yeah, I mean, it means to remove your worries. Is what we do. We try to make dance music for people to just come out and dance, and people work hard throughout the day, and then sometimes they just want to put on music and just have fun. Sometimes the music could have a message, whether it's something political or not, or just something that you feel that you kind of want to get out. And like growing up, a lot of the music that we would listen to, uh, we ended up realizing, like, oh, this is actually really sad, even though the music was kind of upbeat and people were dancing and birthday parties or carne asadas or whatever. But you wouldn't think those two kind of go together, and then they did. Um, Literally, where the band got the name from is from a tequila bottle. Where
Okay.
a friend came over and was like, "Oh, this is really cool. What is John, who started the band with us, like, oh, this is very cool. What is it? What does it mean?" And we kind of told him, and then he was like, "Ah, that's the name of the band." And we're like, "Oh yeah, okay, let's go." Yeah. Well, without thinking, it would be like a bigger thing later. We were kind of just like learning the music, learning the styles, some of us learning the instruments, and it kind of became a thing. And the more we talked about it, people were like, "Oh, that's a great name. That's a great name." And it kind of turned into something bigger to
Yeah,
work with. Yeah.
I think from the name of a tequila bottle all the way to like your guys' mission, there's been meaning throughout the entire journey. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I really like that. And I like how although you guys weren't thinking about it in the sense of like your own parents or like this idea of being a first generation American from immigrant parents, it's subconsciously there. It's very like interpretive for other people. So I really do like it.
Yeah, for sure. And then music has kind of been a way for us to like really dig back and like see our roots and like really dig in, as we were like listening to music and going back and like listening to music our parents listened to, and even stretching out further, not even, past Mexico, past Guatemala, music from different areas. And kind of growing up, it was almost like not cool to like speak Spanish in school or like listen to Mexican music sometimes. And that has kind of changed for sure. And it's been nice to keep the music going and then just like really like push the culture, be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to what you said about you know, taking kind of like also inspiration from your own country's music. I know that you guys also take inspiration from the radical 60s to the 80s. Um, what really caused this inspiration, and does it differ to like what you personally like say your music taste is, or like your musical background?
Uh, for me personally, something about the 60s and 70s I've kind of always drawn to, even just like as a little kid, like hearing like putting on the oldie station, whether like by myself or with my mom maybe. Um, and just like there was something about old music, maybe it was the recordings or like the idea of bands doing live takes, which is something we kind of do when we record albums and songs, we kind of one room all together at the same time. Uh, and then kind of just reading about specific bands and what they were doing, what their goal was, what their mission was, people that were, in the parts of the revolution and people that were being put in jail for being musicians, and then kind of just the whole, radical 60s and 70s. Um, that kind of changed in the 80s because things got more commercialized and sounds changed and technology changed. And then as time went on, it's almost like people were trying to imitate the old days with the new things. But there's nothing, not that there's anything wrong with music now or new things, you know. I think that's part of where you want to take music further and you're kind of combining both things. But yeah, I don't know what it is about those eras. It's almost like any country you go to between those years, there's really good music.
Yeah, I agree. I think also, we'll go into this a bit later about, like, the political stuff, but I think, you know, um, listening to some of your guys' songs, I did notice, like, political themes being brought up and things like that, and, like, exactly what you said, through the '60s, through the '80s, um, there were times of revolution, and music was a big, big factor in that for sure, and you see that throughout countries all over the world, not just the US. Um, it was a global thing. It was a global kind of movement that happened during those times where people were rioting and revolting against social injustices and political figures who were, not, standing for people. So I think that that's something I've picked up on the music that I really love, and we'll go into that a bit later. Um, but I do wanna talk about, the band's recent releases that I was listening to, 2 tracks, Bailando Gozando and Buena Que Está. Those were released in 2022, which have very bright guitar sounds and, like, very percussive rhythms that, like, provoke the audience to dance. I found myself, like, really grooving to it as well. But I'm curious as to what the creative process looked like behind these recent releases, and also if you can compare that creative process to the very beginning of the band, how has that process really changed?
Mhm. Um, I feel like the process just kind of throughout time has been somewhat similar, where it's half and half of like somebody brings an idea, um, whether it's myself or somebody else, and then kind of just bringing it to the group, and then we just kind of just work it out together. We just kind of grind out, throw ideas, try this, try that. Anybody can have an idea, and then we kind of just vote on it, good, yes, no, and we kind of keep going. And it's kind of been that for the most part, always. And but now I just feel like we're better at it. Like we're kind of just we know what we like, we know people's strengths, we know we're just kind of like move a little faster with it as opposed to trying to figure out like, oh, what are we doing right now? Where are we pulling from? I think maybe it's just like a little bit more confidence of what we want it to sound like, what we want to, what feels good, what sounds good, what will work with an audience, and like being just players, musical players, what feels good. As far as those two songs, the funny thing is they were kind of one song, and then we split it for the release, so we made them two songs. For I'll start with Buena Que Está was a song we probably started in 2013, um, where it was kind of like a Brazilian sound, tropicalia sound, and then we kind of just would play it every once in a while. It would just nothing was really happening, and then eventually it was like, oh, this is the idea. Let's hear what this sound and this feel. So it kind of became its own little thing. In the studio, like the main guitar part that comes in, we used one of a Jazz Cat Studios. He has a very cool like octave weird guitar pedal that he was like, "Oh, try this sound," and so that's kind of like the main sound that you hear at the very beginning, which is kind of like a very unique characteristic of that song. And then just like, oh, let's just do a very chanty group, just all together in the room of just repetitive thing. For Bailando Gozando, the funny thing about that one was that we got approached by Universal to do a Bee Gees cover song of "You Should Be Dancing." So
Oh.
they were gonna do like a tribute awards thing, and they wanted KUCITAPENAS to do like a Spanish version of the song. And I got sent the song, and then I was like, "Oh, here's kind of an idea that I did, like a little demo that I did." And I showed the group. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Let's learn it." We showed Universal. They were kind of like, "It's kind of a little weird. It kind of doesn't really sound like the song. Can you do it again to sound more like the song?" So then we're like, "Okay, that's fine." We redid the song, um, more instrumental. Kind of sounded more like the actual Bee Gees song. But then we're like, "I don't know. This other version. There's something about it that sounds really cool. Let's do it like like an Afro beat salsa. That's no one's ever really done that. We should do it that way." And so then technically Bailando Gozando is a BG song in like a Afrobeat salsa Spanish version.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. I didn't
Yeah,
I guess, like, now that you're saying it, I could see the inspiration there, but,
yeah.
like, going into it blind and listening to it, like, without this information, I would've just thought it was, like, a masterpiece on its own, taking, like, just from the original in the studio, but that's really cool, honestly.
Yeah,
That's an interesting little, like, fact there, a little story you have to that
yeah,
song.
yeah. Got the inside scoop. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if too many people know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
now we
Now we
know.
know. Yeah, now you
Now
know.
it's out there. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Um, I was also listening to, the most streamed track that I noticed on Spotify was, La Educación from the 2019 album Tigrada. And this song probably stood out to me, like, the most, especially because of the lyrics, lines like la población no es terrorista," meaning the population, no, the population is not terrorist, and "Maestro aguanta, el pueblo se levantará," meaning "Teacher, hold on, the people will rise." It made me wonder, how the band is involved in being a voice for, the community, and if there was, like, a specific event or story that really, like, inspired this song, if you wanna expand on that, or just talk about, the emotions that kind of went into it, if there was, like, something that started a rise.
Yeah, I think that song definitely, like you said, is one of like the more political songs with like a message. That because they're definitely not all like that, which is I think is important because I think sometimes there's things to say and that reflect the times, and sometimes it's okay to just yell papaya, it's okay,
Yeah.
both are okay, both are needed. Um, for that one specifically, it is based on the teachers' protests that was happening that became really big in Oaxaca. Um,
Mm.
so then I was just kind of like reading on it, um, just like getting kind of inspired by it, and it was kind of just everywhere in the moment. And I believe I might have watched like a documentary or like a series about it, and they were interviewing people on the streets, and they were just throwing out little lines, just people were just really passionate about saying, like yeah, like you said, like the that we're not the terrorists, the majority is not, and people should stand up, people should fight for justice. And so I was just kind of pulling from things. So a lot of obviously I wasn't totally there, but I was just trying to like channel the people's emotions and then the message, and that's kind of where that song came from. Yeah, so it's just about education. I felt like it's an important thing to kind of keep echoing because it's always still happening. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. As an artist or as a band, and this is kind of like a question I have just, thinking about this and talking about this song in particular. But, with more political messages and songs, do you feel that it is kind of like the band's duty to like really educate people, like knowing that you guys have like a specific audience? Do you think like that is something you guys like value?
Definitely value it. I wouldn't necessarily say every artist has to, but I think those who do are important and should be valued and at least listened to a certain extent to see even at least where they're coming from or who they're trying to represent and just voice a little bit louder because it is just kind of like an echo chamber, like one thing and you just hear it, you say, and it kind of goes around. So I think that one had important messages of unity and strength, and yeah, I think it is important. A lot of people do say, like there is revolution and music and protest and music are hand in hand. You go to protest, people are chanting, they're singing, and
Mhm.
that's it is kind of one thing. So it does go together.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
totally agree. They go hand in hand for sure.
yeah.
Going back to the first generation stuff, like I said, I'm also first gen from Hispanic parents as well. I'm really interested on how being in the music industry has affected you on a cultural and social aspect. How does this part of your identity really connect to your music? And also, is there any pivoting you've had to do within your career to get to where you are?
As far as music industry, I think no, I think just like learning how to navigate it, just kind of being more more with purpose as opposed to like, oh, let's get together in this garage for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And people get busy, people got things to do,
Mhm.
work and family, so it's just more purposeful of like, okay, this is what we're doing, this is what we're saying, we're gonna go here, and trying to share as much as we can, um, for everybody who wants to listen because there's so much music out there that it's always just we appreciate every time like we go somewhere and they're like, wow, there's people here and they're dancing and they're you could be anywhere but you're here with us, and that's always very special.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree. Final question to kind of just like close it out. But as we approach the Mucho Gusto Festival, what should fans be like expecting from the music that they will hear from you guys? Do you think that any new projects will get to hear exclusively or any new projects in general that you want to kind of share?
Yeah, Mucho Gusto is gonna be great. It was wonderful last year. So much good music that we're all fans of, and music that you probably won't hear or see around. So it is a very special thing. Tropical dance music, happy music, like it's like old with electronic, um, just representation of everybody, women, people of color, people from different
Yeah.
countries, and then it's gonna be great. We're fans of all the bands, so we're excited to see all of them. It's almost like a little mini concert for us. Like
Yeah.
our favorite little picks. So we're excited. We're excited to
Yeah.
be part of it.
Yeah, of course, and I'm excited to see you guys and many other artists and DJs. I know that, like, being involved in this, festival has made me, like, grow to realize how, you know, music within, like, my culture and, like, stuff like that is, like, so important and, like, other things of that sort as well. But yeah, thank you so much, Danny, for joining me today. It was a pleasure talking to you about more than just music.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, Leah.
Yeah, of course. Once again, everybody, Danny from Quitapenas. If you are interested in hearing their music live and many other artists and DJs, make sure to check out the Mucho Gusto Festival happening September 21st in downtown Riverside. You'll get to explore art installations, amazing food and drinks, and of course, dance the summer away to some amazing music with friends. For more information on the festival, make sure to visit muchogustofest.com. Thank you for listening to KUCR 88.3 FM Riverside. Till next time.